The circular windows of Proxima Research Station gleamed like desperate eyes in the darkness of space. Inside, Director Naira Vex tendrils rippled with anxiety as she watched the tactical display. 8 Valkyrie warships had materialized from hyperspace, their massive forms blocking out the stars around the isolated station. "How long will our shields hold?" she asked, her crystalline voice tight with concern. Chief Engineer Zarin checked the readings again, his bioluminescent patches pulsing with stress. 3 hours at most, Director. The Valkyrie's latest barrage damaged the primary generator. The station, home to 300 of the galaxy's brightest Centaurian minds, had been conducting breakthrough research on cellular regeneration. Their discoveries could revolutionize medicine across known space. But the Valkyrie Dominion wanted the research for themselves, to create enhanced soldiers for their expanding empire. On the lead Valkyrie vessel, War Commander Kratos watched the station with predatory anticipation. His massive form, covered in chitinous armor, cast a shadow across the bridge. "Send another message. Remind these scientists what happens to those who defy the Dominion." The transmission crackled through the station's speakers. "Your situation is hopeless. Surrender your research data, and we may permit you to live as servants of the Dominion. Resist, and we will take it from your wreckage." Director Vex tendrils coiled tightly against her head, a sign of deep distress among her people. This was their 19th distress call in 7 days. The nearby systems had heard their pleas, but none dared challenge the Valkyrie. The Centaurian homeworld was too far to send help in time. They were truly alone. "Director," Communications Officer Lyra called out, her bioluminescent markings flickering rapidly, "I've sent emergency broadcasts on all frequencies, including some that haven't been used in centuries." Still no response. The station shuddered as another blast struck their weakening shields. In the medical lab, researchers rushed to secure their vital data. Years of work, discoveries that could save billions of lives, at risk of falling into the hands of those who would weaponize it. War Commander Kratos grew impatient. "Target their life support systems. Let's see how dedicated these scientists are to their principles when they are gasping for air." But before his gunners could comply, proximity alarms screamed across every ship in the Valkyrie fleet. Space itself seemed to twist and tear as multiple quantum ruptures appeared around them. The Valkyrie sensors went wild, trying to process energy signatures unlike anything they'd encountered before. Through these dimensional tiers emerged 5 massive vessels of sleek, midnight black design. Their hulls bore no markings except for a simple emblem, Earth's planetary symbol with a sword through it. These ships had no business being here. Earth was supposedly a backwater world, barely capable of interstellar travel. On the bridge of the EFS Vigilant, Admiral Marcus Harrison stood calmly, his dark uniform bearing only minimal insignia. Earth had hidden its true capabilities for decades, building in secret while appearing primitive to the galaxy at large. Now, that deception would pay off. "Open channels to all Valkyrie vessels," he ordered, his voice carrying the weight of humanity's carefully planned revelation. "This is Admiral Harrison of the Earth Defense Force. You are engaged in an illegal siege of a civilian research facility. Power down your weapons and withdraw immediately, or face the consequences." The Valkyrie commander's laughter echoed through the comm system. "Earth? The primitive world that still uses chemical rockets. Return to your insignificant planet before we destroy you along with these scientists." Harrison's expression didn't change, but his eyes hardened. "Tactical, target their primary weapon arrays. Minimal power. Let's show them exactly how primitive we are." The Vigilance quantum phase cannons hummed to life, their energy signatures completely alien to Valkyrie sensors. Before Kratos could even order his shields reinforced, precise beams of concentrated energy sliced through his ship's defenses like they weren't there, surgically disabling their main weapons. Inside the research station, Director Vex and her staff watched in awe as the supposedly backward humans demonstrated technology far beyond anything known in the galaxy. Their distress calls hadn't gone unheard after all, they'd reached the one species everyone had underestimated. The game of galactic politics was about to change forever. Humanity had finally decided to show its true strength, and the Vreckeri were about to learn why you should never judge a species by its apparent limitations. War Commander Kratos stared at his disabled weapons array in disbelief. The supposedly primitive humans had just bypassed his ship's most advanced defensive systems like they were made of paper. But the Vreckeri commander hadn't conquered 17-star systems by backing down from a fight. "Launch all fighter squadrons," he roared, his chitinous armor clicking as he leaned forward in his command chair. "Show these humans what real combat looks like." Hundreds of Vreckeri strike craft poured from the carrier bays of the 8 warships, their sharp-edged forms glinting in the starlight. The swarm approached the Earth vessels with practiced precision, ready to overwhelm them with sheer numbers. Admiral Harrison watched the incoming fighters with calm interest. "They are persistent, I'll give them that." "Commander Walsh, deploy the Aegis defense grid." On the bridge of the EFS Vigilant, Tactical Officer Jessica Walsh's fingers danced across her console. Hundreds of small objects detached from the Earth vessels, quickly forming an intricate geometric pattern in space. The Vreckeri fighters approached this strange formation without concern, until the grid activated. Quantum energy fields sprang to life between the nodes, creating an impenetrable web. The first wave of Vreckeri fighters couldn't react in time. Their weapons' fire was absorbed harmlessly, while those that tried to punch through the grid found their systems instantly disabled by precise electromagnetic pulses. Inside the research station, Director Naira Vex and her staff watched in amazement. By the first light, Chief Engineer Zarin whispered, his bioluminescent patches pulsing with excitement, "Their technology, it's beyond anything in our databases." The remaining Vreckeri fighters scattered, trying to find gaps in the human defense system. But the Aegis grid moved like a living thing, adapting to their maneuvers with artificial intelligence that made their best tactical computers look primitive. War Commander Kratos slammed his armored fist against his command chair. "Impossible. Contact the Dominion fleet in the Syraxis sector. Tell them dash." "I'm afraid that won't be possible," Admiral Harrison's voice cut through their communications. "Your quantum relay signals are being blocked. You're on your own, Commander." On the Vigilance bridge, Harrison turned to his senior staff. "Phase 2. Show them what happens when humanity stops holding back." The 5 Earth vessels began to move in perfect synchronization. Their midnight black holes seemed to absorb nearby light as advanced metamaterials redirected energy around them. The ship's quantum drive systems hummed to life, allowing them to execute maneuvers that should have been physically impossible. "Sir," one of Kratos' officers called out in panic, "their ships are generating multiple sensor signatures. We can't get a lock on their true positions." The human vessels appeared to split into dozens of identical copies, each one as solid-looking as the real ship. The holographic warfare systems that Earth had developed in secret were making a mockery of Vreckeri targeting systems. Inside the research station, Communications Officer Lyra picked up hundreds of new signals. "Director, the human vessels are broadcasting on all frequencies. They are revealing themselves to the entire sector." Indeed, the Earthships were transmitting their intervention for all to see. Across nearby systems, alien races watched in stunned silence as humanity shed its carefully maintained facade of technological backwardness. Admiral Harrison's voice carried across all channels, "To all witnesses, the age of unchecked aggression in this galaxy is over. Earth will no longer stand idle while the strong prey upon the weak." The Vigilance weapon systems powered up again, this time targeting the Vreckeri ship's engines. Quantum-phased energy beams sliced through their defenses with surgical precision, leaving the massive warships dead in space. "Last warning, War Commander," Harrison announced. "Surrender now, or we will be forced to demonstrate our offensive capabilities at full power." Kratos gripped his command chair, mandibles clicking in fury. Everything he thought he knew about humanity had been a lie. His entire fleet had been neutralized without a single casualty, a display of technical superiority that would send shockwaves through their dominion. Director Vex tendrils waved in patterns of joy and relief as she watched the Vreckeri fleet's predicament. "Send a message to the Earth vessels," she instructed Lyra. Tell them the Centaurian people will remember this day. The day humanity revealed itself as guardians rather than conquerors. The battle wasn't over, but its outcome was no longer in doubt. Humanity had hidden its strength for decades, building and preparing in secret. Now, in one brilliant stroke, they had announced their true capabilities to the galaxy. The message was clear: the rules of power had changed, and Earth would no longer watch from the shadows while innocents suffered. The aftermath of humanity's intervention spread across the galaxy like a shockwave. In the Grand Council chamber of the Vrekari Dominion, High Commander Zeltak watched the recorded footage for the 20th time. The human ships moved with impossible grace, their technology centuries beyond what Earth should possess. His clawed hands gripped the armrests of his throne as subordinates delivered increasingly disturbing reports. 3 more systems have declared independence from the Dominion, General Krav announced, his armored form diminished by the news. They claim Earth has promised them protection. Zeltak's compound eyes narrowed. And the human fleet? Dispersing throughout the sector. Our long-range sensors show them establishing quantum relay networks. They are creating a rapid response grid that could reach any threatened system within hours. At the Proxima Research Station, now a symbol of humanity's emergence, Director Naira Vex hosted an unprecedented gathering. Representatives from 12 previously oppressed species had arrived to meet with Earth's diplomatic corps. The station's grand conference room buzzed with excitement and possibility. Ambassador Rachel Chen of Earth stood before the assembled aliens, her presence commanding despite her small stature. For 50 years, we watched and waited, she began. We saw how the Dominion and others like them treated peaceful worlds. So we hid our advances, built our strength, and prepared for the right moment to act. In orbit above them, the EFS Vigilant maintained its guard position. Admiral Harrison studied tactical readouts showing Vrekari fleet movements across the sector. Their enemies were regrouping, but uncertainty paralyzed their command structure. Every Vrekari captain now feared their next target might be under Earth's protection. Admiral, Commander Walsh reported, we're detecting quantum fluctuations. 3 Vrekari battle groups are attempting to coordinate a response. Harrison smiled slightly. Deploy the Athena network. Across the sector, hundreds of previously invisible satellites activated. Earth's greatest technological achievement began its work, creating a web of quantum-entangled sensors that could detect and track any ship's movement in real time. Inside the research station, the diplomatic meeting continued. A representative of the Arcadian mining colonies, their crystalline form shimmering with emotion, addressed the gathering. For centuries, we paid tribute to the Dominion. We believed no one could stand against them. Now. They gestured to Ambassador Chen. How did Earth advance so quickly without detection? Rachel's response was measured. We had help. Many of you remember the Sentinel incident 30 years ago. When a mysterious force destroyed a Vrekari dreadnought that was attacking a refugee convoy. Murmurs swept through the chamber. Director Vex tendrils rippled with sudden understanding. That was you? The first test of our quantum phase weapons, Rachel confirmed. We couldn't stand by and watch the massacre. But we knew we weren't ready to reveal ourselves fully. So we made it look like an accident, a catastrophic drive failure. On the bridge of the Vigilant, Harrison received an urgent communication from Earth Command. The Athena network had detected something big. The Vrekari weren't just regrouping, they were massing for a decisive strike. They are calling it Operation Dominance, his intelligence officer reported. Every available warship. They mean to prove Earth's intervention was a fluke. Harrison opened a channel to the diplomatic conference. Ambassador Chen, you need to wrap things up. Our friends in the Dominion are about to make a very poor decision. In the conference room, Rachel nodded imperceptibly. Ladies, gentlemen, honored beings. Earth didn't reveal itself just to replace one dominant power with another. We're proposing an alliance. Equal partners, combining our strengths. The Vrekari believe they can intimidate us back into hiding. Let's show them how wrong they are. Director Vex rose, her tendrils forming patterns of fierce determination. The Centaurian Science Directorate stands with Earth. Our medical technology, combined with your quantum advances. She turned to the other representatives. Together, we could reshape the galaxy. One by one, the other delegates stood. Arcadian crystal forms, Peloran energy beings, even a representative of a Vrekari colony world that had long chafed under Dominion rule. Centuries of fear and submission were ending. In high orbit, the Vigilance quantum sensors detected the first wave of Vrekari ships emerging from hyperspace. Harrison watched calmly as his tactical display filled with hostile contacts. The Dominion had committed their entire reserve fleet, over 300 warships. They still think quantity can overcome quality, he mused. Commander Walsh, signal the fleet. All ships deploy Aegis grids. Show them what a real force looks like. Across the sector, quantum ruptures began to appear. The hidden strength of humanity's armada revealed itself at last. The Vrekari had brought 300 ships to this battle. Earth had brought 1,000. The true test of humanity's emergence was about to begin. Not just a single battle, but a fight for the future of the galaxy itself. Space itself seemed to ripple as 1,000 Earth warships dropped their stealth fields. Their midnight black hulls formed an impenetrable wall between the Vrekari Armada and the Proxima Research Station. Admiral Harrison stood on the Vigilance Bridge, watching as the largest fleet battle in galactic history was about to unfold. All ships, combat formation Delta, he ordered. Remember your training. Today we show the galaxy that humanity's revelation wasn't just a show of force, it was a promise. The Vrekari fleet's tight formation betrayed their shock at the sheer number of Earth vessels. High Commander Zeltak, having taken personal command of the operation, felt his certainty waver. Still, he had committed too much to back down now. Launch all fighters. Full barrage, all batteries. His voice carried across the Vrekari command channel. Show these upstart humans what real warfare looks like. The space between the fleets erupted in chaos. Thousands of Vrekari fighters poured forth, their plasma weapons lighting up the void. Energy beams and projectiles flew toward the Earth fleet in a storm of destruction that would have annihilated any conventional force. But humanity's ships were far from conventional. Aegis grid active, Commander Walsh reported calmly. Quantum phase shields at full power. Enemy weapons are having no effect. Indeed, the massive Vrekari barrage seemed to simply disappear as it approached the Earth fleet. The advanced defensive systems that humanity had developed in secret were making a mockery of the Dominion's most powerful weapons. From the observation deck of Proxima Station, Director Vex and the assembled diplomatic delegation watched in awe. Ambassador Chen stood among them, her face serene as she witnessed humanity's full military might on display. By the cosmic core, breathed the Arcadian representative, their crystalline form vibrating with emotion. How did we ever think Earth was primitive? Rachel's response was measured. Sometimes the best defense is to appear harmless. While the galaxy's powers fought among themselves, we built, we planned, we prepared. Not for conquest, for this moment. To stand between the bullies and their victims. On the Vigilance Bridge, Harrison received the signal he'd been waiting for. All ships, execute Operation Lightbringer. 1,000 quantum drives activated simultaneously. The Earth fleet began to move in perfect synchronization, their formations shifting like a living organism. Advanced AI systems coordinated their movements with microsecond precision. Sir! A Vrekari officer called out in panic. Their ships, they are everywhere at once. The human fleet had seemingly multiplied, quantum ghost images becoming indistinguishable from real vessels. The Vrekari targeting systems went haywire, unable to determine which ships were real and which were projections. High Commander Zeltak watched in growing horror as his fleet's formation began to break apart. Stand firm, he commanded. They can't maintain these illusions forever. This is your final warning, Harrison's voice echoed across all frequencies. Stand down your forces, or we will be forced to respond with lethal force. Zeltak's response was to order his dreadnoughts forward. These massive vessels, each carrying enough firepower to level a continent, represented the pride of the Vrekari fleet. Surely they would prove more than a match for Earth's tricks. Harrison shook his head sadly. They never learn. Commander Walsh, initiate the Prometheus Protocol. Across the Earth fleet, weapon ports opened to reveal something new. Quantum crystalline matrices, pulsing with enough energy to destabilize spacetime itself, took aim at the approaching dreadnoughts. Prometheus weapons armed, Walsh confirmed. Target locks established. Fire. The void erupted with light as concentrated beams of quantum energy lanced out from the Earth ships. These weren't the surgical strikes from before, this was humanity's full offensive capability unleashed. The beams passed through the Valkyrie shields as if they weren't there, cutting through their strongest armor like tissue paper. Within seconds, the pride of the Valkyrie fleet had been reduced to powerless hulks, their engines dead, weapons disabled, but crews deliberately left unharmed. A demonstration of not just power, but precision and mercy. In the research station, Ambassador Chen activated a quantum communicator. The faces of leaders from dozens of worlds appeared in holographic form around the chamber. "You have all witnessed what happened here today," she announced. "Earth extends an invitation to every world, every species that desires peace. Join us. Together, we can ensure that no power, no empire can ever again threaten the weak with impunity." High Commander Zeltak stared at his ruined fleet, centuries of Valkyrie military doctrine undone in minutes. His clawed hand reached for the communication panel. Sometimes, survival meant knowing when you were beaten. "This is High Commander Zeltak of the Valkyrie Dominion," his voice carried the weight of historic defeat. We surrender." Admiral Harrison allowed himself a small smile. "A wise decision, Commander. Now, shall we discuss the terms of a more permanent peace?" The battle was over, but its implications were just beginning to ripple across the galaxy. Humanity had not just revealed its strength, it had changed the cosmic balance of power forever. And this was only the beginning. The Grand Assembly Hall of New Geneva Station hummed with activity as representatives from over 200 worlds gathered for the signing of the Galactic Concordat. 3 months had passed since humanity's dramatic revelation of power, and the galaxy had changed more in that time than in the previous millennium. Admiral Harrison stood at a viewport, watching ships from dozens of species dock with the massive station. Earth vessels patrolled nearby, their presence now a symbol of protection rather than threat. Commander Walsh approached with a data tablet. "Final security sweep complete, sir," she reported. Even the Valkyrie delegation's arrival went smoothly. "Though I never thought I'd see High Commander Zeltak looking so humble." Indeed, the once mighty Valkyrie leader had undergone a transformation. His delegation entered the assembly hall with none of their species' characteristic aggression. The defeat of their armada had shattered centuries of military doctrine, forcing a complete re-evaluation of their society's foundations. Director Naira Vex, now serving as the head of the newly formed Interstellar Scientific Coalition, watched them with her tendrils forming patterns of satisfaction. The Proxima research station's medical breakthroughs were already being shared across known space, saving millions of lives. No longer did advanced species hoard their knowledge in fear of conquest. Ambassador Rachel Chen took the central podium, her presence commanding the attention of the vast chamber. Behind her, a massive holographic display showed real-time images from across the galaxy, Earth ships responding to distress calls, former slave worlds celebrating their freedom, joint scientific expeditions making new discoveries. 3 months ago, she began, humanity revealed its true nature to the galaxy. Not because we sought power or dominion, but because we could no longer watch as the strong preyed upon the weak. Today, we take the next step forward together. The Assembly's attention shifted to a group of Earth engineers activating a complex quantum device in the center of the hall. Dr. Nathan Reeves, Chief Architect of Humanity's Quantum Technology, stepped forward to explain. "This is the heart of the Guardian Network," he announced. "A quantum-linked defensive grid that will span the entire known galaxy. Any world that joins the Concordat will be protected by this system, making aggressive warfare not just difficult, but impossible within protected space." Murmurs of amazement swept through the crowd. The Arcadian representatives' crystalline form sparkled with excitement as they studied the device. The energy requirements for such a network would be astronomical, they observed. "Which is why Earth is also sharing our zero-point energy technology," Nathan replied with a smile. "Clean, unlimited power for all member worlds. No more wars over resources. No more colonies exploited for their energy reserves. High Commander Zeltak rose from his seat, his armored form drawing all eyes. The Vrekari Dominion. He paused, correcting himself. The Vrekari Republic wishes to be among the first to sign this concordat. We have learned that true strength lies not in conquest, but in cooperation. From her position near the podium, Commander Walsh monitored the quantum communications network. Reports were coming in from across the galaxy, former empires requesting membership, liberated worlds celebrating, and even ancient species emerging from isolation to join this new era. Ambassador Chen raised her hand for attention. Let history record that on this day, the galaxy's peoples chose to unite not through force or fear, but through the promise of protection and progress. Earth's fleet stands ready not to conquer, but to guard. Our technology is offered not to dominate, but to elevate. Admiral Harrison watched as, one by one, the representatives came forward to sign the concordat. Each signature triggered the quantum network to extend its protection to another world. The galaxy was transforming before his eyes. Quite a change from hiding our capabilities, isn't it, sir? Walsh remarked quietly. Harrison nodded. We spent 50 years preparing for war, Commander. Now we get to build peace. In the space around New Geneva Station, ships from hundreds of worlds maneuvered in an intricate dance. The sleek black forms of Earth's vessels moved among them, no longer hidden, no longer pretending to be less than they were. They had arrived in force when the galaxy needed them most, and now they would remain as guardians of a new age. Director Vex approached Ambassador Chen after the ceremony, her tendrils forming patterns of both joy and curiosity. When humanity revealed itself, you said you had been watching and waiting for the right moment. How did you know when that moment had come? Rachel smiled, looking out at the assembled fleet. We didn't choose the moment, Director. The moment chose us. When we heard your colony's distress call, we realized that sometimes the greatest show of force is not in conquering, but in protecting. Humanity stepped out of the shadows not to rule the galaxy, but to ensure that no one else could rule it through fear again. As the quantum network activated across known space, a new era dawned. The age of empires and conquest was over. Humanity had arrived in force not just with ships and weapons, but with the power to transform the very nature of galactic civilization. The future would be built not on dominance, but on the promise that no peaceful world would ever stand alone against aggression again. The galaxy had learned that humanity's greatest force wasn't in its weapons or technology, but in its determination to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. And that was a force that would never fade.